Okay, super. Well, thanks everyone for being here tonight. We have a lot of information to share with you at this virtual town hall meeting. Lots of things going on as we prepare for the summer season. I did want to start with just a really tough announcement. I think most of you have heard about the murder that occurred on the West Shore in Homewood last weekend. And we do have a link. The Sheriff's Department does have a link with some video surveillance, and we're asking anyone in the public who recognizes or saw anything last Saturday evening, take a look at that link. And this is such a rare situation for our community, but there is video footage of the suspect. The sheriff has assured me that they really believe this was targeted at these individuals and that the public is safe. They're not concerned about other members of the public being targeted. This was very directed. And I just urge you all to take a look at the Placer County Sheriff's Facebook page and take a look at that link. And Kelly, later, maybe we can put that in the chat or in the questions so people can access it directly from us. But after that tragic news, there's a lot of other news to share tonight, and I want to get started right away. We are going to be using the question and answers in the chat. So if you can please post any questions you have for any of our speakers. We're going to try to go through this pretty quick because everybody has turned out and wants to give you updates. And so we just want to make sure that we can get through all the presentations as quickly as possible. So with that, Kelly, was there anything else we needed to let the public know?
No, I can read the blurb. The town hall meeting will be conducted by webinar and teleconference. There will be no physical location open to the public and or accessible. County representatives will participate in this town hall meeting by webinar or teleconference. And with that, first up, we have Dr. Oldham giving us updates on COVID and vaccine.
Great, thanks Kelly, and thanks to Supervisor Gustafson, and so sorry to hear the news. So my heart goes out to the Tahoe Eastern Placer community after the murder. Fortunately, I have almost all good news to kick off with tonight, giving the COVID update and talking about vaccine. And so I'll talk just for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then really look forward to hearing your questions, because there's still a lot of confusing things, but at least mainly good news to react to. So yeah, right now, countywide, we're sitting at a case rate of about 3 cases of COVID per 100,000, and a testing positivity rate now of less than 2%. And it's actually lower than that, a little lower than that in Eastern Placer, which is the lowest we've been. We've seen the lowest rates we've seen since September, and even lower rates, probably the lowest hospitalization rates and severe rates of severe illness that we've seen in the entire pandemic. So really, really good news there. I think we can attribute almost all of that good news to the very high effectiveness of the vaccines that are out there. And then with hundreds of millions of doses in arms now, I think it's safe to say, I mean, we're still seeing very low rates of severe adverse reactions. I know some of us had a few side effects, those of us who got the vaccine, but low rates of severe adverse reactions, which is really good news. So just some numbers. I mentioned hundreds of millions of doses nationwide. In Placer, we have over now 380,000 doses in arms. Now remember, some of those, the Pfizer and the Moderna, are 2-dose series, so not meaning 380,000 residents have been vaccinated. Actually, it looks like that we're now at about 55 to 60% of the entire population with 1 dose. So now we're seeing open up to eligibility down to 12 years old. So the younger folks have lower rates of vaccination. Actually, we're seeing over 80% of older adults now with at least 1 dose. About 60% of adults age 35 to 65 been vaccinated, but only about 35% of younger adults, so people ages 18 to 35 with a vaccine. So we have our work cut out with us for us with the younger adults. And actually that's what we're seeing now is over half of our cases of COVID are in people 35 and under. So that's where much of the work needs to be kind of focusing on younger people. But fortunately that those groups don't have as higher rates of severe illness. We are seeing the larger percentage of our severe illness and hospitalizations in younger people, as you'd probably expect, as we're seeing more cases in those groups. So not to say severe illness doesn't happen in younger people, it does, especially those with underlying health conditions, but we're in a much better place than we were back, if you remember, back in December when it was primarily among older people, skilled nursing facility residents, et cetera. I guess not so good news, the pace of vaccination is slowing down. So we're down to about 600 doses per day. From a peak back in April, we were doing about 4,000 doses per day. So things have slowed down considerably. But it's as we would expect, because all the people who really wanted to be vaccinated have already been. In Eastern Placer, we're monitoring actually some communities that have had very high rates, like Tahoe City, but some communities with significantly lower rates. So in Kings Beach is one of the communities in Placer County that has among the lowest rates. So we've been really looking at that. Some of that is based on, I guess, what we would expect based on the demographics. It's a younger population. We are seeing lower rates of vaccine uptake among the Latino, Latinx population. So as we know, Kings Beach does have some of those demographic factors that are working against it, but also to the extent there are access problems, we're really trying to work on that. I know a lot of the vaccine in Tahoe has gone through the Tahoe Forest Health System and up at Truckee. We have had some access at the pharmacies at the lake, but I know it hasn't been as good at the lake. So we did run last week at the event center, a county-run clinic there, allowing walk-ins. Partnered really closely. So thank you to, I don't know if we have anyone from Sierra Community Health on the call today, but they've really been a great partner in working with us each step of the way since last July on contact tracing and community education, and now with vaccine navigation. When we had the vaccine clinic at the event center, they really helped us out trying to drive folks, especially in some of the neighborhoods in Kings Beach, to the clinic. Also, lots of thanks to the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation and all the partners for promoting our Sleeves Up Placer campaign and our and the Mask Up campaign. As far as we didn't have as much traffic at the pop-up clinics there at Kings Beach last week as we had hoped, but still I think vaccinated about 60 people between the 2 nights we were there. I know Tahoe Forest Hospital, I'm not sure whether there's anyone on the call from Tahoe Forest, but my understanding is they closed their vaccine clinic at Sierra College, but will be providing vaccine on a smaller clinic, not the mass vaccination, but a smaller clinic there at the Donner Pass Road Clinic next to the OptumServe testing site in Truckee. And by the way, the OptumServe testing site, so testing is also down dramatically, but it's still there as an option. It's now open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So, and there's plenty of availability now for testing. So with that, I guess the other thing now everyone wants to talk about is, we are in orange tier, so I know businesses appreciate that and beginning to open up a little bit more, but really everyone's looking forward to next Tuesday, June 15th, when we can move beyond the blueprint. So the blueprint, most of the restrictions get retired. We're beginning to get more information sort of at the last minute, as we've been accustomed to, on what things will look like beyond the blueprint. It sounds like in general, people who are unvaccinated will continue to at least have a guidance to be masked while indoors, and that's under the public health guidance. But then there's also the Cal OSHA guidance, which is a little tougher to follow. And I think Cal OSHA, their standards board is going to be meeting again next week, right after the 15th, to talk a little bit more about what the workplace rules look like. But in general, the public health guidance we'll be saying, for people who are unvaccinated, to encourage masking indoors, but actually for outdoor, unless you're in a really crowded situation, or if you're vaccinated indoors, that you don't have to wear your mask. So people really appreciate that. Of course, people can still continue to wear a mask, and I think lots of people will. I know I have family back east where they don't have mask mandates, but there's lots of people who are still wearing their mask going to businesses, and certainly businesses can continue to ask their patrons to wear masks if they want to. So with that, I think I will stop there and see if anyone has any questions. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you so much, Dr. Oldham. We have one question about people who may have antibodies from COVID, from having COVID. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, that's a question that comes up quite a bit about what about people who, I guess, who've been infected in the past, who have a known infection, or who've taken a blood test and been found to have antibodies against COVID. Actually, we did a partner with Stanford University on a study of how prevalent that is of people who have antibodies. I was one, my family, we some of you may have done this, sent in a little card with your blood on it to get tested for antibodies. So very, very low number of people throughout Placer County actually do have antibodies right now from the study. I believe several thousand people who were sampled through Stanford University, but also the data shows that just having antibodies doesn't, from the infection, we don't really know how long that immunity lasts. We think maybe from a month to 1 to 3 months, but the data is not so good. The data on vaccination is very strong. So that even 6 to 12 months after the vaccine, showing very low rates of people getting infected, and certainly of having severe illness. So having antibodies might be of some help, but it's no replace for vaccination.
Great, thank you. We have another question. People who have the IgG antibodies, do they still need to wear a mask?
Yeah, I think similar to the answer for the last question. So the guidance is in order to for there not to be guidance to wear a mask while indoors, you have to be vaccinated. So antibodies testing doesn't really help you on taking your mask off indoors. It does look like that in most settings for outdoors, that there's not a requirement even for people who are not vaccinated to wear a mask.
Thank you.
Other question?
I don't see any more questions. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dr. Oldham. Really appreciate it.
Next, we have our safety or public safety and agency updates. Up first, we have Lieutenant Matt Tweed from the Highway Patrol, California Highway Patrol.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us on here. I am Matt Tweed, the CHP Truckee Commander. For an update for our office or our area, we cover everything from the middle of Lake Tahoe all the way up into pretty much towards Sierraville, all the way to Nevada, into the Gold Run, Kingvale area. So for us, the nicest thing is we're having this meeting in June, which means we all made it through another winter, which was great, with very little freeway closures, which is a really nice winter for traffic wise. Going into this summer, having the no fireworks going on for the 4th of July, and the parade, unfortunately, with everything being canceled, it helps us out a little bit for alleviation of major traffic that comes into the Tahoe Basin area, but we're still going to have a lot of visitors, probably more than last year is what it's looking like. So we will still be, as a CHP, we will still be in a maximum enforcement period through the holidays, which means we are going to target everything we normally do with our primary collision factors of speeding, DUIs, seatbelts, looking at cell phones, distracted driving. We will be all around the lake area and doing our parking enforcement as normal. We will have our bike patrol out all summer long, which we have for the past long years, as everyone knows, and that helps us a lot for our community engagement. With the great news about COVID that the doctor just gave us, and with the lifting of a lot of the restrictions for the state, gives us a lot of ability to get back into doing our community service aspect of it, of doing our bike safety with the children, getting out there and doing our Start Smart programs, and interacting a lot more with our programs within the community. So that should be really nice to get going again this summer. With that, we're just very happy to be here. We're glad everybody gets to work together so well, all the different agencies that come together for this. So thank you, Supervisor Gustafson, for inviting me here and the rest of our agencies. And we just look forward to a productive, good summer of getting back to normal, but we can all see traffic is getting back to normal, or even more so. Same with the visitors. So we're kind of all excited for that. We just want to reassure everyone, hey, make sure you're safe, make sure your vehicles are up to code, that you're coming in something safe, wear your seatbelt, put your cell phone down, make sure we all have a safe summer together. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Tweed, for giving an update. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and go through all of the public agency updates, and we'll have questions at the end. So go ahead and type your questions in as the updaters present, and then we will make sure to get through all of the questions at the end. So up next, we have from Placer County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Paul Long.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me here. I'm Lieutenant Paul Long from the Placer County Sheriff's Office, Burton Creek Station. And obviously the topic that's on everyone's mind is the homicide. On June 5th, around 10 p.m., our deputies responded to an open line 911 call on the 3000 block of Westlake. When they arrived there, they found a man who was dead from a gunshot wound, apparent victim of a homicide. There is some limited evidence from the scene, but the best information, or the best evidence we have right now, is this video. This is a subject of interest. This is a person that was in the area known to be around the property at the time of the incident. And so if anyone does know, recognize the person, recognize particularly the backpack he's wearing, there are some different views on this video that was posted. There is a tip line, and I'll give it to you, and then we'll see if we can get it posted in comments as well. The tip line is 530-889-7853. So the investigation's ongoing, and to protect the integrity of the investigation, the privacy of the family, there's actually very little I can say about what we have learned. However, what we have learned is indicates that there's simply no indication that there is an ongoing danger to public safety. If that does change, we're going to let you know. We're going to let you know on social media. We'll alert the news media. We'll use every means we can if that fact changes. And with that, once again, very limited details that I can present to protect the integrity. So I'm going to move to a different topic. Coming into fire season, it's very important that we get everyone, certainly all the locals, registered for Placer Alert. And that is our primary mass notification system for disasters, for dangers in your neighborhood. One of the ways that we could reach you if there was a danger in your neighborhood that we wanted to notify you of. And you can do that by going to placeralert.org, which will take you to the sign up webpage and allow you to sign up. But I want to talk very quickly about a very recent, 2 days ago, use of this that was spectacular. You might have heard there was a 5-year-old who had wandered off in Burton Creek State Park. It was somewhat of a spectacular incident. We had somewhere between 50 and 100 locals out searching for him. Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue. The fire department showed up used their drone to assist us in flying areas. The sheriff's office, obviously, the state parks, and also CareFlight showed up and volunteered some hours to make sure this little boy was found before it got too dark and too cold. The moment we pushed out the Placer Alert message to the area, we received 4 tips within 15 minutes that completely refocused the search and led to him being found shortly thereafter. And that certainly shows the power that that public notification system has. And so if that doesn't persuade you, I don't know what could. Placeralert.org. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Long. We appreciate the update.
Thank you, Lieutenant Long.
Up next, we have CAL FIRE. We have Chief Mike Rufinot.
Hey, good afternoon. It's Division Chief Mike Rufinot with the Nevada Yuba Placer Unit of CAL FIRE. And I just want to reflect on the 2020 fire season real quick. 2020 was the worst recorded fire season in California history. We had almost 10,000 wildland fires in the state responsibility area. There were 4,257,000 acres burned. Of those acres burned, there were 10,488 structures destroyed. And unfortunately, that included 33 fatalities directly related to those fires. So not a good year for us last year. In Placer County, there were 990 wildland fires in Nevada Yuba Placer Unit in 2020. Placer County has 367,000 acres of SRA wildland. 340 wildland fires occurred in Placer County. The good news, we kept 95% of those fires at 10 acres or less, which was our goal. 14 of those fires in Placer County grew greater than 10 acres. And of those 14 fires, there were 1,400 acres consumed. So overall, the CAL FIRE and our cooperators, local government fire departments did a great job at containing those fires, keeping them small. So we had a real good initial attack success rate there. So this year is not so good. So as of June 1st in 2020, we'd had 1,065 fires burning a total of 1,726 acres. That was last year. As of June 1st this year, we've had 13,604 acres burned with a total of 2,878 fires. So you can see there's a huge increase this year due to the lack of snow and rain in our area. So it's definitely not good. So May 1st, the snowpack in the Sierra was at 59% of normal, which, as we all know, is not good. There were no late spring rains. The grass loading that we normally see, like down in the western Placer County and the foothills and lower areas, like west of Roseville, the grass loading is average. So the fires, we just had a 900-acre fire the other day out in Wheatland, and some of the firefighters were talking about how fast the fire was moving, and it's because we have that lower grass crop, and generally those fires move faster than when we do have really tall grass and they put out a lot of heat. The fires generally don't move as fast, but they're very hot. So that's what we're seeing down in the lower areas of Placer County. Weather forecasters are talking about the potential for monsoonal flow with potential lightning. That's what we had last August, moved through Northern California and created such issues for us. So hopefully that does not happen this year, but it is predicted. It's also predicted for very high fire potential for large fire growth at mid to higher elevations. That's the Truckee Tahoe area, higher elevations, not good at all. So, and the fire spread predictions are approximately 6 weeks ahead of normal at this point, meaning we're seeing fire conditions that are 6 weeks ahead of normal. Normally we don't see this till later on. So the fires we've had, extremely hot, fast moving. So it's just not a good thing. So what are we doing, or what did we do last year to combat some of these fires? We had year-round staffing at our Truckee Fire Station 50. And those guys, even in the snow, were out burning hazard piles. They burned about 712 hazard piles in the SRA in the Tahoe region. They treated 58 acres in high hazard areas. 97 hazard trees were dropped in the wildland urban interface areas. And on top of that, when we talk about equipment, we added a 4th bulldozer to our unit this year, and we'll be pre-positioning that dozer on the east side as conditions warrant. I had the duty coverage last weekend when we had red flag conditions up in the Truckee Tahoe area, and we moved a hand crew and a bulldozer in addition to our engine staffing up into the Truckee area to combat any fires that we may have. Burning has been suspended, so there's no residential burning for the rest of the year. And then we've gone to our peak staffing levels last Saturday night. So we're around 411 state-funded personnel in the Nevada Yuba Placer unit. This includes 27 state-staffed engines, 5 Type 1 hand crews, the 4 bulldozers, and our Grass Valley Air Attack base. We have our air attack and 2 air tankers that'll be in service. Right now we have 1 air tanker, 1 air attack on the CAL FIRE side. The 2nd air tanker is down for maintenance right now. We're hoping to have that up by next week. So statewide, our hand crew strength, it's a big component of our firefighting. Our hand crew strength, we should be around 180 crews statewide. As of June 1st, we're down to 75. So we're adding, that's where the additional dozers come in. And then we're also upstaffing some firefighter hand crews. Nevada Yuba Placer unit did not get one of those firefighter hand crews, but Amador El Dorado unit did get a firefighter hand crew in their unit just in South Tahoe area. And then they also got funding to upstaff the 3C Center, the California Conservation Corps Center, with 2 fire crews run by CAL FIRE down in Myers. So that's a plus for sure. And then we should have the National Guard crews through the end of 2021, which is good. Again, on the aircraft side statewide, I'm sure you've seen all the media coming out on our new S-70I Blackhawks. We have 8 of those in service currently. So there's a possibility that you could see those in the Truckee Tahoe area. And then, so we'll be fully staffed this summer at 23 air tankers. And we've also have a fleet of C-130s that they're working on. Those should come on track, or they're on track to come into service at the end of 2022. So that's going to beef up our aircraft fleet for sure. So some of the things that homeowners can do, as Lieutenant Long said, sign up for Placer Alert. That's huge. And then also, just because things are dried out, it's still a good time to get that defensible space done. Just do it in the right way. So rake up those pine needles. Do not use power equipment in the wrong way at the wrong time. You know, we have a lot of lawnmower caused, weed eater caused fires down in the lower areas of Placer County right now because the grass is so dry. And a lot of those fires are occurring after 10 a.m. And we keep telling people time and time again, when you use that power equipment at 10 a.m., assess, just stop at 10 a.m. But if you do it before 10 a.m., you need to assess what the winds, what the conditions are like. If we're in north wind or red flag conditions before 10 a.m., don't do it. Pick another day. Just wait. Rake those pine needles. Take care of that defensible space. Now's the time to prepare. Have a go kit. So if Lieutenant Long does say, "Hey, it's time to evacuate," we can you can get your go bag, put it in your car and go. It's not the time when they say evacuate. It's not the time to do your laundry and make sure your plants are watered. It's time to get out as soon as possible. So if there's no questions, that's the end of my report.
Great, thank you, Chief, for that. Appreciate it. Up next, we have North Tahoe Fire Protection District. We have Chief Steve, is it Layton? Am I saying it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Good evening, Supervisor Gustafson. So it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Steve Layton. I'm the new fire chief for the North Tahoe Fire Protection District. I replaced Mike Schwartz, who was the fire chief for 9 years. I've been with the district for about a year and a half and was promoted to the fire chief on May 1st. So I've been in the position about a month, but I've been with the district for about a year and a half. How has it been going? The first month as being the fire chief, outstanding. I have outstanding people that work for North Tahoe, and I couldn't be more prouder to be their fire chief. North Tahoe is an excellent organization, and I'm super happy to work here. A little bit about North Tahoe and what we're doing. North Tahoe Fire has 5 fire stations that are strategically placed from Kings Beach down to Meeks Bay. We run about 2,500 calls a year. Our stations are fully staffed with firefighter paramedics. When we're called to an emergency, we respond a fire engine and an ambulance. That's because we need the staffing. We have 2 people on the fire engines and two on the ambulances, and we respond as a team to all type of emergencies in North Tahoe Fire's jurisdiction. Some of the things that Chief Rufinock talked about. Yes, this is an exceptionally dry year. We're getting ready for fire season. Yesterday, we did have a 2.6 acre fire in El Dorado County on the Rubicon. That was held to 2.5 acres. The crews did a great job. We worked well with the CAL FIRE units, the Forest Service, and our own North Tahoe Fire units to be able to control that fire. No homes were lost and no homes were threatened. They did do a voluntary evacuation for the DL Bliss State Park area. That was short-lived, and they did close 89 for a short time period. I did go down there. It was very windy down there, but it's still early in the season. And where the fire started, it started in a field that was fairly wet. The fuel moisture in that area was fairly high, so it didn't really have a chance to get established and get going. So we were fortunate that that didn't happen. Some of the things that just so the public knows is how the fire service operates up here in Placer County and some of the good things that we have going. So we're on the same dispatch center. So that means North Tahoe Fire, Truckee, Squaw Valley, Incline in Nevada, North Star, and us are all on the same dispatch system. And that's out of Grass Valley. That's the Grass Valley Emergency Command Center. So we're all on the same frequency. What else do we do as fire agencies is we share resources. We respond the closest resource to the emergency, no matter whose jurisdiction it is. So that's a positive thing for the community. Another thing we're doing this year for the wildland season is we're dispatching more resources sooner to the incident. We're getting the resources on the road so that we can always turn resources around. But like yesterday during that fire, we had quite a few resources that were converging on that scene, converging on that area, so we didn't repeat the fire that we had several years ago. North Tahoe Fire, we have 2 defensible space inspectors that are out doing some good work. They started on June 1st, so you'll see them out there in the community. We do have 5 of the sign trailers that are strategically also placed throughout the district to, and we put our messages on there on whenever that may be, whether it's red flag warning or right now they currently have where you can't burn any charcoal or have any wood in our jurisdiction. So I know there's some other fire representatives here, Supervisor Gustafson, so I don't want to take too much time, and I appreciate you having me here. And like I said, our personnel, they do the right thing at the right time for the right reason. That's our motto, and we're here to help. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Chief. And you guys, we depend on you, as you all know, and thank you all for being here and being such a great team, working to protect us all. I know we have some questions. We are going to come back to those questions on evacuation, and we'll work with our law enforcement agencies to get those answered. So Kelly, you can keep going with Chief Celine.
Yes, up next we have from the Truckee Fire Protection District, Chief Celine.
Hi, good evening. Chief Layton, Chief Rufinock. I'll try to add to that rather than repeat it. We're operationally consolidated, so we do a lot of things similar, which is the good news. I'm the fire chief for the Truckee Fire Protection District, and our district covers portions of Placer County in the Truckee and Donner Summit areas. So a couple things on my report. As you may have heard, the campfire and charcoal ban is in place, and this is a regional ban. All of the fire districts in the Lake Tahoe and North Lake Tahoe area have a similar ban in place, banning campfires and charcoal outside of campgrounds. And of course, this means gas only from now until we get significant rainfall, which is usually in November. I'm happy to report since we implemented this ban a few years ago in the Truckee area, at least, we've seen a dramatic decline in fires that were related to improperly extinguished campfires and improperly disposed of charcoal. Now, for this summer, of course, we encourage people to call 911 if you have something to report, and we're glad to go out and check that out. We have a green waste dumpster rebate program going on right now in the Truckee Fire District, where you can get a green waste dumpster delivered to your house, and we'll rebate $81. Funds are limited, so act quickly for those of you that haven't. And you can go to truckyfire.org to learn more about that process. truckyfire.org. Our inspectors, our defensible space inspectors, have been busy in the field looking at homes and providing education on defensible space. One of the things that they noticed that I wanted to pass on is that not everyone has a 5-foot Ember resistant zone around their house. And this is sort of some new terminology and some new things the research has shown to protect your home. And it's pretty easy work to do. And this is the 5-foot area that starts at your house and goes out 5 feet. And it should be completely clear of vegetation and flammable materials. And this is often referred to as the drip line area. Keeping this area clear will prevent an ember from getting in vegetation near your house and finding its way to your house. Lastly, I wanted to mention that the Truckee Fire District has a wildfire prevention tax measure going to voters in the district in August, and it's a mail-in election. This $179 parcel tax would raise over $3 million annually. That would be narrowly focused on fire fuel reduction around neighborhoods in the wildland-urban interface. It would include things like removing dead brush and trees, implementing a robust curbside type green waste program, removing dead trees on people's property, improving evacuation systems, things like that. You can, of course, learn more about that at truckyfire.org. So that's the end of my report for Truckee Fire, unless there's any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Up next, we have Olympic Valley Fire Protection District Chief Alan Wright.
All right, thank you. I think the chiefs ahead of me here spoke pretty well and covered a lot of ground on this. My name is Alan Riley. I'm the fire chief here in Olympic Valley. And our district goes from basically just north of Alpine Meadows Road to just south of Cabin Creek Road and Olympic Valley proper. And as the chief said, we're typically trying to send the same message. We're trying to get on the same topics as far as burn ban. We're pushing that same message across defensible space. This Saturday is the Green Waste Day at Olympic Valley. We have dumpsters here at the fire station from 7:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. for everyone's green waste. And then we've started defensible space inspections as well. We're doing those on the engine company level. So, our citizens can expect to see the engine companies out there doing the defensible space work. And we really want to push the message that not only just getting it done now, but maintaining it throughout the year, maintain that all the way through October until we get those first snows is really critical. I think other than that, I think the rest of the chiefs kind of covered most of those topics. Unless there's any other questions, that's the end of my report as well.
Great,
Thanks, Chief.
Oh, sorry. Up next, we have from the United States Forest Service, Tahoe National Forest, we have District Ranger Jonathan Cook Fisher, who is joining us via phone. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you. Appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to speak with you all this evening. So a few weeks ago, I had an opportunity to present at Good Morning Truckee. And one of the messages I carried forward in that meeting was that if you are adjacent to the National Forest, if you're a homeowner that abuts the forest, and you'd like to implement that 100 feet of defensible space behind your property out into the forest, we have that capability to do so, to get you that permission fairly quickly to implement. So I'd like to bring that message again here to this meeting. Outside of fire, we've got some really interesting recreation updates I thought to share today. First of all, on your agenda, you're going to have a Sugar Bowl snow play discussion later in this meeting. I did want to share that we recently completed, at least on the Forest Service side, our review of that project, and we were able to process that as a categorical exclusion. And we are certainly optimistic that that project will at least partly address our shared concerns around snowplay and safe winter parking up at Donner Summit. So that was a real important project for us at least, and hopefully for you as well. I wanted to update you all that the Tahoe National Forest Truckee Ranger District, we recently approved 35 miles of trail, native surface trail, as open to Class 1 e-bikes. I hope Placer County takes a bit of pride in that most of these trails are within Placer County. And this is really the first effort of its kind for a National Forest unit in California. We really remain thankful for Placer County's support for improved signage and wayfinding across jurisdictional trails. We've had a great response to this early efforts, and we expect more of this to continue. Lastly, I wanted to share that we recently completed yet another categorical exclusion, and this was to improve parking at Cabin Creek. This is a well-known winter access spot for both motorized and backcountry skiers, and we're looking to formalize that parking in a more professional manner, a hardened surface to allow for plowing, greater capacity, and better winter access. And hopefully there will be additional opportunities to partner with Placer County on that project in the future as well. So that's all I have from the Forest Service. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Tahoe City, Public Utilities District. We have Kay Bernstein.
Yep. Good evening, Supervisor Gustafson and everybody else. I hope you're all doing well. Kay Bernstein, Parks and Facilities Superintendent for Tahoe City PUD. Just giving you guys a few parks updates, and here we go. As many of you heard, boat launches around the lake are closing due to low water levels, and this has increased the demand at the Lake Forest boat launch. In anticipation of this increased demand, the TCPUD took action to mitigate some of the impacts of the surrounding neighborhood. We closed the Lake Forest campground and utilized it as a overflow boat parking, giving us an additional 24 spots. We continued our no parking in the neighborhood messaging from our kiosk and sandwich boards around the neighborhood. We hired additional employees to help manage the dock congestion. With many thanks to the North Tahoe Fire Department, we used their digital sign on Memorial Day weekend, which was, we think right now was our busiest Memorial Day weekend ever, with 120 launches on Sunday. We were blasting out everything on social media to help mitigate these parking issues. And we're also looking into a method to notify users of the parking lot being full, so we don't get a huge congestion of people looking for areas to park inside Lake Forest and other areas. We're hoping that they figure out someplace else to go with their boat and trailer. We're, with the water level in the lake dropping, we're continuing to monitor the water levels at the ramp, make adjustments to operations, and plan as needed. My other update is on our newly purchased property. It's going to be called the Tahoe City Community Center. Just a second, I'm trying to get to my, there we go. We purchased a new property in Tahoe City. It was the old Maritime Museum. As many of you have heard, the Maritime Museum, we purchased it. It's located at 401 West Lake Boulevard. We purchased it in October of last year. The property is now called the Tahoe City Community Center, consists of 11 acres and features a 6,500 square foot, 2-story log building. The district has been busy preparing the grounds for the public use, which are a serene park-like setting with gardens, a gazebo, and ponds. The gazebo just received a new roof. We've been installing electrical throughout the property for outdoor concerts and whatever means we need for that. They've been busy working on staining and chinking of the new building. We've installed picnic tables and trash cans around the property. We're looking to do a parking lot upgrade in September. The grounds are now open to the public and will be available for rent for public and private functions. This year we have a small music event already on the schedule for September, and we will be offering a toddler music program and adult yoga on the lawns. The building has undergone several upgrades. I mentioned chinking and staining, the installation of new internet service, roof repairs, and our recreation staff will be moving into the offices located upstairs of the building, and we'll have rental and recreation opportunities available for the public soon. I can answer any questions at the end, and that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kay.
Yes, thank you very much. Up next, we have from the North Tahoe Public Utility District, Justin Broglio. Did I say that?
Yeah, you got it, Kelly. Thank you very much. And thank you, Supervisor Gustafson. Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Broglio, Public Information Officer for the North Tahoe PUD. Quick congratulations to Chief Layton on the promotion. Excited to work with you and your team. And as a fellow PIO, huge credit to Aaron Holland yesterday for doing an amazing job getting the word out. If you're not following all of the fire districts on social media, that's how you'll know what's going on. So make sure you're doing that. We also will have a green waste drop off here at the base facility at 875 National Avenue on Saturday. So everyone's encouraged to bring your green waste over on Saturday and get it hauled out of the basin. A few quick construction updates from us because we have a couple projects right down on Highway 28. The complete rehabilitation and rebuilding of both the National Sewer Pump Station at TBRA and then right at Moon Dunes Beach is going really well. Those projects are moving right along. Crews have completed demolition and are working on installing new sewer pumps and new upgraded electrical equipment that will make our systems much more reliable in the long term. And up in the regional park, a quick construction update. Crews have removed the old synthetic turf from field 4, so our big soccer field is closed for the summer. And hopefully we'll get in that new synthetic turf, expanding that field, and hopefully be done in October. And there'll be a new paved pathway going into the tennis courts pretty soon as well. And as Kay mentioned, and we all know, the water's low. So last month we had to unfortunately close Tahoe Vista boat ramp, and we regret doing that for all of the boating community, but we can't control the lake levels and the sandbars. But on a positive note, the beach is a lot bigger, and Tahoe Adventure Company is offering rentals out there, and the public can access the beach during construction. And then another recreation update from us, really excited. The North Tahoe PUD has a survey out right now. We have a new recreation programming supervisor, and we're wondering what everybody wants us to do. So please check out that survey on northtahoeparks.com and on our social media. Let us know what kind of classes and activities and programs you'd like to see the North Tahoe PUD host and offer the community. We are planning to host movies in the park in July and August, so we'll have some community event updates on those pretty soon. And the North Tahoe Event Center is looking forward to events post June 15th and welcoming back some weddings and some community events in a safe manner as soon as we can open up. So we're really excited to see people back in the event center soon. So thank you everybody for the time.
Thanks, Justin. Great to see you.
So that wraps up our public agency updates. So we do have a few questions. So up first, we have some questions on evacuation plans. There were a couple of questions. One was more along the lines of speaking to emergency evacuation plans and coordination with other agencies. And then the other component of it is, what should we know and where can we find this information?
Okay, I'll jump in this one right away since I saw the questions directed kind of towards the CHP on a couple of these. When it comes to evacuations for fire, it's a very coordinated effort between all law enforcement, fire, Caltrans, county roads. It's a big ordeal that includes a lot of people at once. So our messaging to people, because it's hard to tell someone that this is what you do in this type of fire, depends completely on where the fire is. Of who's evacuating where. So our messaging to anyone right away is have an action plan yourself. It can be a very frightening experience. Have an action plan before the fire strikes to reduce all your fears. If you live in or near the potential wildfire, which in the whole basin will be, have a kit ready to go for every family member. Know that if your neighborhood is blocked in fire, have at least 2 ways out, if not more. During the evacuation, remain calm, follow the instructions of the emergency personnel. As anyone says, make sure you have all your apps of all your alerts, all your social media pages follow. We will constantly be pushing out messages immediately as fast as we can. Don't wait for the evacuation order. If you feel threatened, leave. Leave as soon as the evacuation is recommended by any fire officials avoid being caught in any fire, smoke, or any type of congestion for the roads. We as law enforcement will determine, depending on where the fire, which evacuation route we want people to take. So we will have people placed in these strategic areas to direct people where to go. One of our biggest things, and we just had a meeting this morning with the town of Truckee to try to figure out that evacuation, is look to the fire, Caltrans, law enforcement personnel to direct you where to go and just follow where they're going. A lot of times what happens is people will stop to try to ask questions, which just ties up even more. We're directing you a safe way to go to get as many people out as possible. So our biggest thing is have your apps, have all your information out, have the ability to know where to go in your neighborhood, and listen to who's telling you where to go and follow that direction out. And we can get the most people out as quickly as possible. It's a very, chaotic event for a lot of people. So the best advice we can give you is be prepared, know your evacuation routes, and listen to the law enforcement, fire, Caltrans personnel to direct you out. That's what I have on that one.
And if possible, I'd like to amplify a little bit. So I'll do that. Couple things. First of all, there are some websites that are very good resources for preparing for evacuation. Placer County's own readyplacer.com will lead you to the OES website, which has links to many other organizations, including CAL FIRE's readyforwildfire.com. Both excellent websites filled with preparation tips and information. Of course, Placer Alert. I'm going to keep saying it. It is our single best method of pushing information to you, including evacuation information. And as Lieutenant Tweed just said, the fact is everyone who lives around the lake has a choice of left or right on one of the major highways, and that's it. And so the most important thing is to know those 2 routes, but know them so well that you can drive them under very adverse conditions, extreme smoke, darkness, and a plan is only as good as your preparation for it. So have the plan, have the kit, but if you have not practiced loading your car and you are waiting until smoke is drifting across and panic is in the air, then you are doing yourself a grave disservice. And so check out those websites. And other than that, I think Lieutenant Tweed covered everything else. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much. Up next, the next question we have is the best place to view the video. The Facebook video, I think, is what Judy was referring to. So it's posted in the question and answer. It's under the answer. It's the very top one. And then I went ahead and posted the tip line underneath it. But we can definitely send it out if anyone has any questions. But Lieutenant Long, is there another place where they would go to view the video, or is Facebook the best?
Facebook is definitely the best. I will take a look and see if there's a chance to provide it for people to go to Facebook addresses.
Okay, great. Thank you. The next question we have is for Chief Layton. About the Meeks Bay, the fire over by Meeks Bay. If you have any extra information and possible cause.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. That was a great question. I'm sorry I didn't cover that when I was talking about the fire. So it started by, it was very windy down there on my Kestrel, which is a wind meter that tests the wind speed. I was getting about 20-mile-an-hour gusts. So there were some trees that broke off the top and landed into some power poles, and a spark created, and that's what started the fire. So, and like I said, it started in a meadow area. So when the sparks went down off the power pole from the tree, the meadow was able to, keep the fire small, relatively small, considering there were 20-mile-an-hour gusts. Another thing I want to add on the evacuation stuff. So when you were asked to evacuate, that's a law enforcement duty. They'll be doing that part of it. The firefighters will be fighting the fire or trying to make access to fight the fire. One thing I want to mention, and I know Lieutenant Long mentioned it, that's very important, is prepare that to-go bag. I know it's easier to, said than done, but get your to-go bag ready to go. And what should be in your to-go bag? Face mask, sanitation supplies, extra clothing, a flashlight, extra batteries, some food, some water, medication, a first aid kit, and don't forget your pets too. Your pets will, stock up on some food for your pets. So about a backpack full for each individual. Keep it by your front door. It's that time of the year, so make sure that getting in your car and drive. You could be in your car for hours and hours, or out somewhere. So make sure that you can you have supplies that you can be sustainable for a couple of days. So thank you. Hope that answered your question.
It does. We have a couple more questions related to fire. So one question is about the green waste dumpster, and if Placer County Fire, North Tahoe Fire has considered a rebate for the green waste dumpsters.
So I can touch on it a little bit. So, I talked about how great a staff I have. So I have some staff members that are on this call, and they text me what we're doing here for North Tahoe Fire. I don't know everything that we're doing, but I try to know as much as we can. So I'll read you the text that they sent me. They said, this is from our forester, Eric Hornvet, and he says, we are doing green waste dumpster assistance to support community work days. So far, we have paid for 7 dumpsters in 2 different Firewise communities, which in turn supported hundreds of volunteer hours to dispose of pine needles and other vegetation. We are working on 5 other community work days this summer to get another $40,000 worth of dumpsters out into our communities free of charge. And I'm not sure what he said, that Truckee does some sort of green waste dumpster, but I'm not sure. Maybe Chief Celine can touch on that. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
And then from Placer County side, I'll have to check with our folks on that. I know if you take your own green waste up to the landfill and unload it yourself, it's free. And we have free pickup days at various locations. I'm not familiar whether or not we've ever considered the dumpsters, so I'd have to check with staff on that from the Placer County side.
And Erin Holland from North Tahoe Fire as well. She's a public information officer. She posted, there's a curbside chipping service. So she posted in the top of the questions that the link to that as well. So I don't see any more questions from our public safety or public safety and agencies. So we will move on to our next agenda item, which is introducing new summer services. Up first, we have the Tart Connection new microtransit pilot program with Lindsay Roman.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Supervisor Gustafson, for inviting us this evening. Aaron Casey is not going to be joining me, so I apologize. You just get to listen to me. But I did put together a very brief slideshow presentation. So we will see if we can get it all to work. So I'm Lindsay Romack. I work in the CEO's office for Placer County here in Tahoe, and very excited to share with you about Tart Connect, a new micro transit pilot program we're offering this summer. So here's a little bit about Tart Connect. It is going to be a microtransit service operated by Downtowner, which is the same operator that operates the Mountaineer in Squaw Valley and Alpine Meadows. If you've ridden that before, thank you very much to the folks in Squaw Valley and Alpine Meadows, the Squaw Alpine Transportation Company, for starting this and getting us thinking about microtransit. It works so well there. We want to expand it further. So this program for the lake is going to be managed by the Placer County Department of Public Works, and very excited. It is going to kick off on June 24th and run through Labor Day, September 6th. It's going to be operating at 8 a.m. till midnight. And what it is, if you're saying, what is a microtransit service? Well, this is an on-demand service. So you'll be able to download an app, which I'll tell you about in a minute, and be able to say, hey, I'm at my house in Tahoe City. I want to go get a drink at Sunnyside, and they will come and pick you up at your house, take you to Sunnyside, and then take you home, and it'll all be free. There will be 8 vehicles in service in the 2 zones in Placer County. You can see here there are going to be 2 zones, one covering Dollar Point down the West Shore to Tahoma, and one from Tahoe Vista to Brockway. Again, these are Placer County zones. There will be an additional zone serving Incline Village as well, but that is through a separate funding and operating agreement. And I should say here, very excited that the funding for this microtransit pilot program is thanks to the folks who passed the Tourism Business Improvement District, because when that passed, it freed up some TOT funds that were going to be going towards housing and transportation. And this is a program that we're able to do because of the passage of the TBID. As I mentioned, it is a curb-to-curb service, and there is a goal that they will pick you up within 15 minutes of you pulling up the app and asking for a ride. So I'll talk a little bit about the zones. As I mentioned, there are 3 zones. So here's a picture of the app. It is live. So you are able to take a ride anywhere within this zone. So again, if you live in Lake Forest and are wanting to go down the West Shore to go grab some food, maybe go on a bike ride or a hike, again, you can pull up the app. They'll pick you up and take you to your destination and then bring you back when you're done, all free of charge. We also have Zone 2, which is going to be covering the Tahoe Vista, Kings Beach, and Brockway area, which you can see there, the area that it covers. Again, this is running 8 a.m. till midnight. And then again, one more zone, Zone 3, is going to be in Incline Village. This not funded with Placer County TOT, but did want to make you aware that it is available. So you will be able to connect in Crystal Bay. If you're trying to go from Kings Beach to Incline Village, you can get picked up at your house, dropped off in Crystal Bay, and then take a ride into Incline Village. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention on the app that's cool and good for all of our local business owners to know about is there's some other features too, besides just where getting picked up and where you're going. This is when I was in my office yesterday in Tahoe City. I pulled up Explore and it shows restaurants near me. So it's going to be a great opportunity for maybe some of our visitors who aren't aware of what's near them. They can pull up the app, explore some opportunities, and then decide, I want to get a ride to Fat Cat and go have dinner. You'll also see here is a picture of the vans. So they seat up to 9 people. So this means you may make some new friends. They may pick another person or 2 up while they're driving you. And one thing that is not shown in this picture is there will be bike racks as well. So again, this will be a great opportunity for you to take it out recreating. You can bring your bike with you. Then just wanted to share, we're very excited about this pilot program. So we will be officially cutting the ribbon on June 25th at the North Tahoe Event Center. Thanks to the North Tahoe PUD for hosting us there. Any of our community members are invited to attend. The ceremony kicks off at 10 a.m. And then, as I mentioned, this is an app-based service, and the app is available now. So you can download it, though again, you will not be able to schedule a ride until June 24th, but you can download it today. So you have it ready to go, explore it, get to understand it a little bit better. There is a link there where you can go to it, or you can search Tart Connect in the App Store. Though I will caution you, if you have an Android and you search it, you're not going to find it yet, but if you go to this direct link, you will be able to get to it. I have been told by Downtowner that it will be searchable very soon in the next day or two. But again, download the app. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to get around without a vehicle, hop on the micro transit. It'll save car trips and help us be more sustainable. And then I will say we're very excited to see how this works and what potential pilot programs we might do for the winter to offer additional zones, connect maybe with Squaw Valley and North Star. So very excited to see how it goes. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing my screen since I know we have a lot of other topics, but I'm also happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Lindsay. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. You can type them in the chat during or in the question and answer. You can type them in during the presentation. You don't have to wait until the end. I don't see any questions, but I do want to bring everyone's attention to Lindsay Thayer's post about green waste drop-off. She has some different locations in there that might be of interest.
And thanks, Lindsay, for the update on the Tart Connect. Thank you.
Up next, we have under our new summer services, we have stewardship messaging, take care Tahoe updates, as well as sustainability pledge. Christopher from the Tahoe Fund will be updating us on the take care Tahoe updates, and then followed by Jeff Pence from the North Lake Tahoe Resort Association. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. My name is Crew Stover with the Tahoe Fund. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Oh, wrong button. There we go. All right. I just want to start off by thanking you and providing some quick context on the Take Care Tahoe program. What is Take Care Tahoe? It's been around for about 5 or 6 years now. It is the unified stewardship campaign for the entire Tahoe region, and it's supported by over 60 partners, from businesses to agencies to nonprofits like the Tahoe Fund. Our messages are designed to be witty, stand out, but straight to the point, with the mission of connecting people to Tahoe and inspiring a culture of responsibility and respect. As we saw last year, outdoor recreation exploded quite a bit. And to help avoid some of those issues we saw last year, the following initiatives are what the Take Care campaign is really promoting for summer 2021. Our first initiative is our website, takecaretahoe.org. This website hosts a ton of useful information and ways for visitors and residents to connect with Tahoe and learn a lot more about the area. This takecaretahoe.org/welcome has a lot of useful links for any sort of visitor. It has public beach information. It has links to the Living with Fire and current fire conditions and danger. It has biking information, maps, public transportation, as well as trails. We also have a great resource of events where people can volunteer or join a guided trail or guided hike, as well as learning and visitor centers where visitors can really connect and learn more about the Tahoe region. Complementing the website, we have a lot of in-situation signage available for purchase, whether you want to put this up at your property or a popular recreation site. We have over 125 signs available. Everything from dog poop focused to litter focused, even just general trail etiquette. You can order signs at takecaretahoe.org/signs. They're in various sizes, materials, adhesive and rigid is available, and also available in Spanish as well as English. And lastly, probably the most exciting initiative we have for the summer is our Take Care ambassadors. We are thrilled to announce that this summer we'll have on-the-ground education to those users at popular recreation sites. We'll have 5 different programs totaling over 75 ambassadors, and they have launched the past couple weekends, just providing that on-the-ground education to visitors, providing stewardship information, as well as providing trash bags, dog poop bags, and concierge type information. And I guess one of the components we're really excited for is the data collection aspects of that, getting on the ground feedback, how visitors are enjoying our recreation sites that we have here in Tahoe. And then lastly, we also have this Welcome to Tahoe information. It's very good for lodging properties, provides simple tips for anything that a visitor could expect coming to Tahoe. We have these available in PDFs and print versions. And if you would like to reach out and learn more, you can reach me at cstover@tahoefund.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Up next, we have Jeff Pence discussing the sustainability plan.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you, Supervisor Gustafson, for inviting me I have a brief verbal update, and I appreciate the invitation to join this town hall this evening. We're really excited at North Lake Tahoe Resort Association on a great partnership collaborative that we've been busy working on. And what we like to call it is we're talking the walk and walking the talk, and that is about visitor responsibility. And so the North Lake Tahoe Marketing Cooperative developed a traveler responsibility pledge that is being adapted regionally by neighboring DMOs, including Visit Truckee, Lake Tahoe Visitors Authority, and of course, Incline Village and North Lake Tahoe Resort Association. Together, we're asking community members and travelers alike to follow 6 pledge commitments that amplify environmental stewardship efforts. Now, this is rooted in preservation tactics, education, and mindfulness. And the traveler responsibility pledge reminds us to travel with awareness and observe the impact of individual actions. You know, it's really taking actionable steps and reminding people what important roles they take, including participating in beach cleanup programs with Tahoe Blue Crews, drinking Tahoe tap from a reusable bottle, and reminding people to leave no trace, no matter what adventure they're experiencing in North Lake Tahoe. The pledge also encourages everyone to support small businesses and sign up for emergency alerts to stay connected with travel advisories and emergency updates. Now, the 6 pledge items that we put together include become a steward of Tahoe Truckee and getting people committed to exploring the region responsibly. Respect the environment, leave no trace, pack in, pack out. Stay educated, always look for those informational sources, including that know before you go resources that all of the tourism bureaus and visitor centers provide. Keep wildlife wild, very important and big reminder in our travel pledge. Be fire safe, very important one that we added in, and our number 6 is demonstrate mindful travel. We're asking everyone in the community, our business community, as well as all of our visitors to take the traveler responsibility pledge and help us share this important message with visitors and guests. I'm going to drop in the Q&A, a toolkit that all of you get a chance, please take a look and share with your friends and your neighbors, because this is something we want to get around region-wide. The pledge was launched on Earth Day, and there are a number of ways we are measuring success. We don't launch a program or start a program or initiate a program without a way to measure it. So some of the ways that we're going to do that is how many pledge signups that we get, social media engagement, media placements, because we are really also using our media partners and starting a in-market campaign that will stretch into Reno for those folks that are coming in from our drive markets and also throughout the Tahoe Truckee region, and engage a actual paid media campaign to drive home this message. And we're also going to be working with our local businesses on an activation program. So our business partners, from our lodging businesses to all of our tourism businesses in the community, can help us spread the word of this stewardship initiative and make it a real success. We want them to download the poster to hang at their business. And of course, our lodging properties, we're going to also provide videos and in-room TVs. So again, we want to shout out big thanks to Supervisor Gustafson for sharing the pledge through her newsletter. We really appreciate that, and the layers of communication and engagement that constantly go on throughout the community, but especially with our Placer County partners. So again, I'll drop that in the chat or the Q&A for everybody to take a look at that toolkit, and more importantly, share that. Happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you.
Thanks both Crew and Jeff for all the work on this and helping us get out to our visitors and our locals about taking care of this special place that we all get to live in and be stewards of. So really appreciate it. I know we have some questions, Kelly, that are in the chat that are about the Tart Connect. They came in a little late, so I don't know if Lindsay's still on. Peter might be able to, oh, there she is. She's back.
Sorry about that.
Lindsay, one of the questions was, are the Tart Connect?
What were the questions? And sorry, I'm in bad light now.
Okay. The first question is are the vans for Tart Connect ADA compliant? Looks like you've frozen, Lindsay. Are you there?
Yes, is it ADA compliant?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Am I
that's
back?
yes.
Cindy, I believe they are, but
Can
we
you hear
will.
me? I can also go ahead and answer these questions in the chat.
Okay. Why don't you do that? But yes, you can go grocery shopping is the answer. You can go anywhere you want, to a beach, to a park. Any of that can be done. Your errands can be done on, and that's the second question.
There's also another question about the fleet having one ADA per zone.
Yes. So she's going to answer that. Okay.
Great.
All right.
So it looks like we don't have any questions for Jeff or Crew. So thank you so much. We appreciate your
great job. Great
Hey,
job.
hey, Kelly, for some reason I don't have the ability to drop in the Q&A. Do I need to have permission to do that?
I don't believe so, but I will check.
Okay.
I think the panelists, we can only answer questions. We can't put them in there, Jeff.
Okay, I'll
so.
email them to you, Kelly. Maybe you could do that.
Great.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone. Thank you.
All right, up next we have Peter Kratz on the Clean Tahoe program.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Supervisor Gustafson and others tonight. I'm the Assistant Director of the Placer County Public Works Department in our Kings Beach office, and continuing on the summer program theme is what's called our Clean Tahoe program. And just to describe it a little bit, it's Clean Tahoe is a nonprofit organization based in South Lake Tahoe with a proven track record to assist communities with litter and garbage abatement. Placer County and other neighboring jurisdictions in the North Lake Tahoe region are collectively contributing funding to Clean Tahoe to have them address and clean up litter hotspots at our recreational areas and Tart bus shelters, and assist with private garbage compliance. Placer County is contributing $150,000 in TOT funding, similar to what Lindsay described with the T-bid passage. It freed up some additional TOT for things like this. And for Clean Tahoe to do a one-year pilot program to help with garbage abatement, starting hopefully later this month. So we are in the throes right now of getting folks on the ground that are will be employed by Clean Tahoe. They're expanding their business up to North Lake Tahoe for a one-year period. And they'll have 2 to 3 staff in the field. And we're working on still labeling our public trash bins so people know how to report in when they see a garbage issue at any bin, like in the Kings Beach State Recreation Area as an example, Moon Dunes. We're still working on that scene. I've already heard some comments from the public, and bear with us, or we'll get that information out. So when you see something, you can report out. This is a brand new program for us. We're very excited about it. We're looking forward to helping with the trash situation. I think we all experienced quite an uptick last year with COVID-19 and to-go orders and those sorts of things. So this really complements the Tahoe Truckee Sierra disposal service, that they take care of all of our trash, but they're really not set up to do boots on the ground, walking around, doing litter patrol. And that's exactly what Clean Tahoe does. They complement the refuse company down in South Lake Tahoe, and we're trying to bring that same business model up to the North Lake Tahoe region. And it's pretty exciting because it's not just us, it's Washoe County, it's Incline Village Improvement District, it's Nevada Department of Transportation, it's California Tahoe Conservancy, it's the town of Truckee, it's state parks. They're all contributing funding from their own coffers, so to speak, because they all face similar issues as we do, because they manage trash cans just like we do. And the whole idea here is not to worry about jurisdictional boundaries, but when someone from the public sees a problem trash can, it doesn't matter whose can it is, they can call it up, and they'll be doing regular service as well, just again, complementing the pickup service by TTSD. So that's, we're excited to get it launched hopefully before the end of this month. And that's the end of the presentation on this item, and happy to address any questions that you might have. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you so much. If you have questions for Peter, feel free to put them in the Q&A. So up next, we have our update on compliance management efforts for short-term rentals with Jamie Payne.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jamie Payne. I supervise the code compliance programs for the Tahoe area, which include our short-term rental program. I'm going to give a brief update on short-term rentals now that we're getting ready for our summer season and we've come through the winter season. Let me share my screen here. Okay, just a real quick overview. The Placer County short-term ordinance really regulates conditions regarding noise, trash, parking, occupancy, and the permit requirements for short-term rentals. These are properties that are rented for fewer than 30 days at a time. I really want to point out and encourage everyone to call in a complaint if they have issues in their neighborhoods. The number is here at the bottom of the screen. That does come directly to our enforcement staff, and that's how we're best able to address any concerns in the neighborhood. We do have a Placer Connect web-based app that you can report concerns that direction, also available on our webpage, www.placer.ca.gov/STR. But the hotline really is the most direct route, so I'd encourage people to use that. A couple quick sort of frequently asked questions that we like to point out for people. There is ongoing kind of some confusion on the difference in STRs and TOTs. So the STR is the short-term rental. TOT is our transient occupancy tax that's administered by the Placer County Revenue Services. These departments and functions are different, although we work together, and a TOT certificate is required for an STR. But it's important to remember when you're reporting a concern or an issue that you address it to the right department. So STRs will come to our office through the Placer County CEDRA department, and TOT questions will go to revenue services. One of the other things we want to make sure people understand is the difference in a complaint versus a violation. A complaint is any person can make a complaint at any time. We do take those all 24 hours a day, and they can call us. The important part to understand is that a complaint doesn't automatically translate to a violation. A violation is something that needs to be confirmed by our enforcement staff, by Placer County Sheriff, or by one of the representatives from our fire districts. A violation means that we have gone and verified that there is indeed something going on that has not been resolved per the ordinance, which leads me to the next piece. Our Placer County short-term rental ordinance does have an allowance that allows our local contacts, which every short-term rental is required to have, a 60-minute window to resolve any complaint. So when our staff gets a report of a complaint, we notify that local contact, we give them the information for the complaint, and we give them the opportunity to resolve that issue. Our enforcement team is going to go to the property toward the end of that 60-minute period and verify that whatever the issue is has been resolved. If the issue is not resolved, then we're able to move forward in our enforcement process, which could include a warning or a citation, depending on the situation. We do find that most of our complaints are resolved with this. Our local contacts do try really hard to be available and to take care of business. On the topic of complaints, a quick update for how this first half of the year is looking. We have received a total of 83 complaints so far this year. And again, those are complaints. Those are not verified violations. You'll see on the screen, the part that shows outcomes are how those were resolved. So when we say 33 were resolved prior to enforcement, that means that when our enforcement team showed up, that the local contact had resolved the issue, which is the intention of our ordinance, and shows us that that piece is working. We've issued warnings to guests, warnings to property owners or property managers, depending on how the property is managed. We have issued citations so far this year, 2 citations to guests of property and 7 citations to property owners. We have had to refer a couple complaints to law enforcement. This is when a situation is beyond the scope of our enforcement team. Our enforcement team are non-sworn enforcement officers, so we rely on our partners at Placer County Sheriff to assist us in those situations where we need additional help. We have had 9 complaints that were found unfounded. Unfounded means we get a complaint, say, without a specific address, or a complaint that is telling us there's noise in an area, and our officers go out and try and identify that, but they're not able to find any evidence of the violation. And then we also have had complaints that are not STR conditions. These complaints might be complaints regarding trespassing, lighting issues, building issues at a property that is an STR, which we can still address, but it's not addressed under the STR ordinance. So that's kind of a quick look at our complaints for this season so far. We are heading into summer, which means our noise complaints are probably going to go up as people are outdoors, windows are open. We do have a very full enforcement schedule. Our staff is available with very few gaps throughout the week. And we are hoping that the ordinance continues to work as it has, with our local contacts resolving issues and really limiting the impact on our neighborhoods. That is the information I have to share for tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat if people need more information.
Great, thank you so much, Jamie. I don't see any questions so far. There is one question. Linda, we'll go ahead and connect you with Lindsay for an answer to your question about the capacity of the business. So we'll go ahead and connect you for that. I don't see any questions though for Jamie. Thank you, Jamie.
Great job, Jamie. Thank you for all you do in code enforcement. A thankless job. So we're going to double thank Jamie.
So up next, we have our project updates. Up first is Peter Kratz with the Department of Public Works on projects in Eastern Placer County.
Hi, Kelly and Supervisor Gustafson and everyone again. Again, Peter Kratz, like Kelly said, Assistant Director of Public Works. I have a number of project updates, and I'll try to be as efficient and quick as I can, as I know there's still things on the agenda. I have about 6 updates, if I can move through them as fast as I can, but be as clear as I can. So the first one is what's called the Tahoe City Downtown Access Improvement Project. It's a project to improve vehicular circulation and access to parking in the downtown core of Tahoe City to address existing commercial development and parking, particularly on the north side of Highway 28. So an example improvements would be to remove some of the existing driveways that come out onto the highway and provide better vehicular circulation behind the businesses. Some parking expansion will occur, but it's not the main focus of this project. The environmental document for this project recently was approved by our Board of Supervisors, and we are now commencing with detailed design and looking to secure construction funding. So our target construction date for this project would be not until 2023, assuming we can secure additional funds for this project. My next update is what's called the Traffic Crossing Guards Program. This is something I think you all are probably familiar with. We launched it actually a couple of years ago, and last year it really went well in terms of just hiring a contractor to platoon pedestrians at our high volume crosswalks, particularly in Kings Beach and Tahoe City. And we actually launched it today, this year, at the Commons Beach Farmers Market. And they were down there at that crosswalk at Commons Beach Drive. I didn't actually get to watch it very closely, but I'm hoping it launched on good footing. And we're doing this through the summer at every Thursday at the farmers market, and then at the 2 roundabouts in Kings Beach, the 4 crosswalks, 2 at each roundabout in Kings Beach. We'll be doing it there like we did last year, particularly on the high volume days, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays during kind of the middle of the day. So we're hoping to get positive responses for that effort to help with traffic flow, help with pedestrian safety. And moving into my next update, which kind of pivots from traffic crossing, is what we're calling the pilot signalization of Grove Street and Highway 28 intersection. So last year, we also had crossing guards we all know one of the highest volume crosswalks around is at Grove Street. So instead of deploying crossing guards there, we've been working with Caltrans for over a year to get permitting to deploy a temporary signal to improve car and pedestrian safety and control their movements at this high volume intersection. We will monitor traffic conditions to determine how effective and whether we want to consider a permanent signal there. I know there's a lot of history here in the community where Caltrans proposed a signal way back in the early 2000s. Community didn't really support that. And we're re-looking at this intersection knowing that the volumes are higher than they've ever been. We all know that. And so a pilot signal doesn't cost a lot of money. We can see how it works. We can tweak it. And so we're excited to hopefully launch that. We're trying to get it on the ground before the July 4th holiday, but if not, it'll go out in mid-July and we'll run it for as long as we can until the snow flies. My next update is related to kind of our backbone mission for Public Works is our roads up here. And we have 150 miles of roads between North Lake Tahoe, West Shore, and up to the Serene Lakes area. And our revenues are down slightly this year. Our revenues for road maintenance are mainly come from gas tax, but we are still planning to perform surface treatments in the Regency Way neighborhood, which is, as most of you know, up kind of east of Tahoe Vista neighborhood. It straddles 267. It's got actually up to 33 separate streets that we'll be treating with traditional overlay and then what's called a rubberized cape seal. So we are continuing to address Tahoe roads with the recent gas tax revenue that was increased a few years ago. And we will also, what we didn't get to this year, our Serene Lakes roads that are in poor condition. We hope to get to those next year, but for sure we'll do these roads around the Regency Way neighborhood. Also, Timberland roads were scheduled a few years back. A lot of utility upgrades were performed in the Timberland neighborhood. We hope to address Timberland neighborhood next year. Moving on to what's called our neighborhood traffic calming program. This is a longstanding program that the department manages for addressing requests by various neighbors on our county roads for asking about traffic calming and what can be done about slowing down cars. And so it's a pretty rigorous process that goes through a formal request by the neighborhood, and county staff responds. We get lots of requests. We've gotten more in the last year than we ever have, just because I think because of COVID, people have come up here and moved into their second homes, that sort of thing. But the quick update on this one, the most recent one was along Fairway Drive in Tahoe City, and it goes back several years to deal with potential speeding addressed on Fairway Drive. And we finally got to a place where we went to our board on just this last Tuesday, and the board approved building 3 permanent speed cushions spread out along Fairway Drive. Public Works staff really see Fairway Drive as a cut-through route when downtown Tahoe City gets busy and congested. And so we felt that that was an overriding reason to apply permanent speed humps on this section of road. We don't do speed humps lightly. I mean, we get a lot of requests to put them on various roads. We worked very closely, most recently, with the North Tahoe Fire District and Steve Layton's crew and their concerns about emergency response vehicles being delayed with what are called vertical or structural traffic calming devices. I think we try to hit a middle ground here with this particular road because we do see a lot of traffic here during congested periods. We are very respectful and sensitive to North Tahoe Fire's concerns. They issued us a letter last fall about their opposition to vertical speed humps or vertical traffic calming devices. We really want to inform neighborhoods when they do have requests that the speed humps are really the last calming tool to consider, that we want to do more education and signage and those sorts of things before we land on speed humps. And so we really want to keep them, again, as a last tool to consider going forward and be respectful of making sure the emergency vehicles and North Tahoe Fire can do their job as well as possible. Moving on to a couple of trail projects, and that will complete my updates for projects from Public Works. The Truckee River Trail and Access Plan update. So just a quick background on this particular trail project. There's been a long-term vision, and there are written planning documents that talk about circling what's called our resort triangle with a paved trail system that's separated from the 3 highways, as we know, 89, 267, and 28. And this trail system is really to provide recreational access and alternative transportation modes. Many trail sections are complete, as you know, but we still need to do about 25 miles, which is primarily in Martis Valley, and then along the Truckee River. In this particular project, it is a trail gap along the Truckee River between Squaw Valley Road and the town of Truckee. We had a public workshop back in early April with the closest property owners to the potential trail alignment to present our efforts, our planning efforts, and to receive their feedback about the proposed trail. And this project also looks at improving river access and doing some restoration efforts along the river there too. And we also wanted to definitely hear what we should consider in the planning efforts coming from the closest neighbors to a trail like this. Going forward, we plan to launch into the formal environmental analysis effort. So key upcoming dates will include the following. So July 9th, we will plan to release what's called the draft notice of preparation document that describes the project along with potential trail alignment graphics. So everyone will have access to that on our website, and that will launch the formal public comment period going forward for 30 days. And then during that 30-day period on July 21st, we are planning 2 public meetings on that day to receive public comments on the draft NOP. And then August 8th is the deadline for receiving final public comments on the NOP. And again, the NOP is it's the project description. So it's describing what the project is and really what needs to be analyzed in the project. So we've heard a lot from the folks that live along the river already. We'll continue to hear from them. My contact is on the agenda tonight. I'll make sure that either I respond directly or the project manager, Kansas McGahan, will receive your comments going forward. But I just want to make sure you have these 3 key dates in mind. July 9th, opening the formal notice for comments by the public, and then closing on August 8th, and then a public meeting on July 21st during that period. So we try to be very transparent with our county-led projects, make sure we do a lot of outreach, receive all the comments back, take all of them into consideration going forward. And then my final project update is a trail project that has actually just started construction. It's a trail segment in Martis Valley that will connect the east end of Martis Valley up to North Star Drive. And again, it's part of the Resort Triangle Trail Network that has been long envisioned, and we're rolling out a key gap that goes up what's called Porcupine Hill. And the exciting thing about that is that hopefully next year, another section of trail will fill the gap of Martis Valley. So we'll go from the east end of Martis Valley west to the town of Truckee and connect to an existing paved trail that comes out of the town of Truckee. And so by the end of 2022, fingers crossed, we'll have a paved trail going from the town of Truckee into Placer County up to North Star Drive for recreational and transportation use. And so we're very excited about that project going into construction. And that's my update for what I think are key projects to let people know about. Thanks for your time and attention.
Great, thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter. You guys are busy.
Right, trying to stay busy.
I think all of us are busy, but
yeah.
Thank you. The Public Works is really busy for our region.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I don't see any questions in the Q&A, Peter, but I did want to remind everyone that everyone's emails are on the agenda. So if you think of a question later, we can always contact, the emails are on the agenda, so you can always reach out and contact
And
us.
real quick, Kelly, if I could say, everything that we're doing pretty much, I'll just make a plug for our local funding source. Our TOT is touching everything I talked about tonight. It is supporting everything that we do, whether it's a crossing guard program or whether it's an infrastructure project. TOT in some way is supporting that and leveraging outside dollars. So I want to make sure people know that going as we go forward. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. And there is a link to the agenda in the question and answer as well. Up next, we have Crystal Jacobson. And she is talking about projects, Placer County Community Development Resource Agency and Planning Projects. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you very much, Kelly and Supervisor Gustafson, for having me tonight. I'm Crystal Jacobson, the Deputy Director of the Tahoe Community Development Resource Agency. And I've been asked to, I'm going to share my screen. I have been asked to present or just give a brief update. Can you see my screen? Is it up, Kelly?
It is.
Okay. For whatever reason, I'm not seeing it, but
yeah, Crystal, you just have to make the slideshow start. That's all.
Okay. Hold on. There we go. Can you see it now? Sorry about that.
Perfect.
And is it displayed the right way, Kelly? Okay. So yeah, I've been asked to just provide a brief update on just a couple of projects, 3 of them here. Sugar Bowl Snow Tubing Park, the Brockway North Hotel, which is a pre-development project. So that's a future project. And then the Tahoe and Workforce Housing, also what we call a pre-development application. So it would be considered like a potential future project. So I'm going to start with the Sugar Bowl. So this project is actually in the process running through the planning department. So it's what we would call a formal application submittal, and it has been under project review by a planner actually down in our Auburn office. It's a snow tubing park located on the north side of Sugar Bowl Resort, west of Lake Mary. The tubing run is approximately 600 feet, has 2 sets of 5 parallel groomed runs and a centrally located magic carpet. The total site is about almost 8 acres, owned by Sugar Bowl Resort and the U.S. Forest Service. And I think the Forest Service piece of it is more the parking lot areas on the Forest Service property, I'm pretty sure. The project includes snowmaking equipment, about 206 parking stalls, temporary service structure for the first phase of the project, with a planned permanent facility installed with a second phase. So we'll start with a more temporary structure and then install a permanent facility later on in the future. Tubing operations would be active 34 to 56 days per year. So again, this is in their project description. And then they have what they call DJ tubing, which is variable color lighting and music as proposed 20 nights per year. I've actually never seen that myself, so kind of interesting. The project does require what we call a minor use permit to operate. It has undergone environmental review. So a mitigated negative declaration has been prepared pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act. So that's a type of a CEQA document, environmental document. So that's currently out for public review through actually tomorrow. So close of business tomorrow. We are taking comment on that, that project's environmental analysis. Here is just a site plan of where it's located. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's right kind of at the base of Sugar Bowl area here. Just to orient you, this is Highway 80 and you've got Lake Van Norden here. And then this is a site plan, not a, you know, it's not super colorful or anything, but you'll see parking here. So this is the highway here, parking lot. And then this area in here is where the tubing is. So that's all I have for that project. And again, if you can put questions in the chat, I'm happy to answer them at the end. Moving on to Brockway North Hotel. I want to stress that this is, just point out that this is what we call a pre-development application. So this is not a formal project submittal at this time. So the folks that are proposing this came in for what we call a pre-development meeting to talk about their intentions for redevelopment on this site. This is in Kings Beach along the highway here, and this is Raccoon Street here. So it's this parcel that you see in red, or parcels, I should say, that you see in red. So these folks are interested in the future potential development or redevelopment of the site for mixed use. It would be a 4-story building, approximately 47 to 48,000 square feet. It really includes a boutique hotel, some condo units, retail, restaurant, and meeting seminar room. So you're looking at, they initially, and when they first came in with the pre-development, they had talked about 21 unit boutique hotel, 9 condo units, again, the restaurant, retail, meeting, seminar room space, and then outdoor public performance site, playground, and public art on site. That could all change. I just want to point that out because again, this is not a formal application. So a lot of times we'll see folks come in with a pre-development application, they get some comment, and then they, you know, the project will evolve to some degree. So it usually gets a little bit revised through the process. So that pre-development application was submitted in July 2020. Again, no formal application. I did talk to the applicant and they intend that they will be submitting a formal application and conducting public outreach sometime in August and September of this year. So I do have a site plan. I don't have any renderings of this project. We did have some renderings that were included as part of the pre-development application, but the applicant has made substantial changes to the design based on some input that they got from the community. So more to come with the actual you know, design of the project, but this is a site plan of that one. Moving on to the third project, this is called the Tahoe Inn Workforce Housing. Again, this is also a pre-development application for a future potential workforce housing redevelopment project. This is located at North State Line, right, really across from Calneva here. It's the old former Tahoe Inn, which has been closed up for many years. The initial proposal would be for 51 multifamily and 60 multi-person units in several 2- and 3-story structures with approximately 2,000 square foot of commercial use. This pre-development application was submitted in January 2021. Again, no formal project application has been submitted to date. So, and I just want to stress again too, that this could, this does, you know, the proposal could change over time as they, typically speaking, what developers do is they'll go out and get some input from the public, and then their project sort of evolves before it comes in for formal submittal. But these are some renderings from this application. And then here is the site plan. So that is all I have. I'm happy to answer questions on those, or if there's any other questions related to other land development projects that are currently underway in our office. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Crystal. There is a question in the box about a project you didn't speak about, which is what's happening in the Tahoe City Safeway parking lot.
Safeway parking lot. I am not aware of what's happening in the Tahoe City Safeway parking lot. I'm so sorry.
That's okay, because I've been asked a number of times and I don't know either. So they have the easterly corner of that parking lot is dug up. So I don't know if anyone else on the call knows to answer that. But
yeah, that is so interesting. What I can do is take note of that and then get back to the person.
Yeah,
that.
We know where to get a hold of Judy. She's
oh,
the one.
It's Judy.
Yeah.
Hi, Judy. I will look into that, Judy, and get back to you.
Great. And it looks like, do we have another question, Kelly? Oh, is there an update on Tahoe City Lodge?
Yes, I can update on that one.
Great.
So I'm pleased to announce that that project is moving forward. We have been working with the development team on finalizing their improvement plans. And we hope to have a building permit issued towards the end of summer. It does take a little while to kind of navigate through the improvement plans. But the intent is to issue a building permit towards the end of summer so that they can at least get their footings in before the winter comes. So that's the plan. And we've been meeting every week on that one, just kind of going through all the conditions of approval on that project to get it implemented. So good. It's been a long time coming.
And then we have a question on the status of the North Shore gas station on the east side of Kings Beach.
Yeah, so that one had been, and I don't know, I think Peter knows a little bit about this one, but that one was an approved project. My understanding is they're exploring some revisions to the project. And so we are talking internally about whether or not those revisions would need a modification to their permit. So that's where we're at with that one. And I know they had done some work with, and I think it was environmental health on the tanks. I see Peter just popped on.
And Crystal, that's about all I know. I know they had some with their tanks and that some issues that slowed them down potentially. And that's about all I know as well. Sorry about that.
Again, we do know we've got Megan's email and we can get back to her with more of an update when we have that. Thanks.
Okay, I can actually reach out to you, Megan. I can do it.
Thanks. And then also, is staff still working with La Lima on their project on the site of the Crown and Falcon Lodges? And Crystal, I know you know that one.
Yeah, so we are still working with them. We actually have been, for the past 9 months or so, been meeting with the development team weekly. It's slowed down a little bit over the last, I would say, 6 weeks. Because the ball has been a little bit in the developer's court. But basically for the last 9 months or so, we have been meeting with them and meeting internally to talk through the feasibility of developing a hotel on the lakeside rather than the initial, the townhomes that they had proposed some time ago. That project had been denied by the Planning Commission, and then they appealed that project denial to the Board of Supervisors, and then took a little bit of a pause and wanted to meet with staff and talk through the feasibility of a hotel on the lakeside, because that is what we heard the community wanted. So we did work through that. We do, staff believes just through those meetings and kind of exploring the feasibility that it could happen. And we have heard from the developer that they are interested in development of a hotel. But right now they're just they've taken a step back. So again, when I say the ball's in their court, I think they're running some feasibility themselves within their development team. And we haven't seen anything to date. So really the next step in that project would be for them to submit a pre-development and kind of go through that sort of formal development application process. And we're not there yet. So they're just taking a little bit of a pause, doing their own kind of internal feasibility with their development team. And then we hope to see an application. Any other questions for me?
Just a comment and to Carl's point, yes, there are probably others that would like to hear about what's going on at the Lighthouse Shopping Center. So we'll make sure to get that out probably in my next newsletter then would be our best way to get that out to a broader audience. Okay, I don't see other questions, Crystal.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And then finally, and I'm going to try to wrap up, and it's going to take me more than 2 minutes to wrap up, everybody. I was trying to hopefully get us out of here by 8, but I'm going to give you a few other county updates and things that my office is working on. And I first need to thank everybody, all of the panelists that have participated tonight. I hope you see how hard everybody's working and how much we are trying to be focused on getting some pretty big projects done for North Lake Tahoe and Eastern Placer County throughout our region, both with our private sector as well as with our government projects and really services, and really trying to focus our energy where we can make a difference. So I really want to thank the incredible dedication of so many of our county staff. I'm so impressed with everybody's efforts. This year has been pretty overwhelming for all of us with COVID and not getting to meet as much in person. Hopefully after June 15th, we'll be able to get back to some more normalcy in our meetings. But a couple things I wanted to bring to your attention that we are starting to work on. So we are going to be doing a bit of a feasibility and analysis of our Kings Beach and Tahoe City libraries on the eastern slope. As you know, the Kings Beach Library is undersized. We need a larger library there. We're also going to be looking at a potential relocate, and so relocating it potentially into the Kings Beach Center project if that moves. Also looking at a potential relocation of the Tahoe City Library to a more visible spot, and potentially we have a couple of different locations in mind, but we're going to be reaching out to the public and the users of the library to really get some ideas on how often you're using the library, for what types of services, and how we can improve service to you, because we contribute a lot of funding to our library fund from this region, and we really want to make sure we serve you the most and the best way we possibly can. So you'll be hearing more about that and looking at our libraries and how we can best adjust our services there and potentially expand and provide better services. We're also talking with the folks in the town of Truckee and Nevada County, because they have a really exciting proposal for a much larger library in the regional park in Truckee. And one of the thoughts we've been having is entering into a contract with them and creating a regional system up here, because when somebody's ill or a librarian has time off from the Tahoe City or Kings Beach office or library, it's sometimes challenging to get staff to fill in for them. And so we've been closing the libraries. And we think a partnership with Truckee and Nevada County, we might be able to share staffing and keep those libraries open more hours. So we're going to be looking at both things. And I'm really excited to get that study going and take a look at it. The second thing my office has been spending a tremendous amount of time on is Suddenlink. For those of you who have broadband services with Suddenlink, we have had numerous meetings, monthly meetings with Suddenlink, with elected officials and legal counsel from the town of Mammoth, from Mono County, Nevada County, Town of Truckee, and Placer County to really talk about the problems that we're seeing with Suddenlink and their service. So those of you who have Suddenlink, please, we don't want to be their customer service portal, but we have become that. But we do seem to be able to elevate your concerns up the chain and get responses for our customers. Suddenlink serves parts of our area up here, but it also serves a huge amount of my district down in the Auburn, Christian Valley, Foothill areas. And so we've been continuing to push on them and are looking at passing a county ordinance so that we can start to, if we have to, fine them for lack of their service, meeting service standards, because there's been some real problems there with their lack of investment and just their customer responses. Will sometimes take days and weeks for them to get back to people. So please forward those concerns to our office. We're keeping a log on those and then passing those on to Suddenlink. And we really want to make sure we get as much feedback as we can from those of you with that service. Third big item I'm working on and wearing multiple hats, not only as your county supervisor, but also serving on the TRPA governing board and the Tahoe Transportation District Board. We're talking a lot about how we fund transportation sustainably in perpetuity. These pilot programs are great. I'm so excited about the pilot program, but to really sustain and expand micromass transit throughout our region year round and really making that a part of the way we live up here is really important. And we have to find a regional revenue stream to do that. Placer County currently supplements our Tart system with $2 million a year of TOT funding. Some of the other jurisdictions around the basin aren't able to supplement their transit funding. And so we don't have a seamless system so that if you want to go to Emerald Bay, or if you want to get around the lake, or if you want to go to Sand Harbor, our systems right now are not fully connected and we don't have that seamless service. So that we've talked about, and I think as long as I've lived here, other ski areas and other resort communities have had free, frequent transit service, and we'd like to get that. So we're meeting as leaders within the basin to talk about a regional revenue stream. Peter Kratz from our Department of Public Works is on the technical review committee of that. And then I serve as your elected official and wearing several hats on the various boards trying to work on that, that regional revenue. And we're hoping to be able to get back to the public with some concepts and move that forward. And then finally, I think some of you know that Erin Casey in our CEO's office has found a job that she wants to take elsewhere. So she's moving along after, I think June 25th is her last day. And so we are going to be posting, I think if it's not out today, in the next couple of days, her position to refill that position. It will be titled, what we're tentatively calling it is the Tahoe Operations Manager, the same level that Erin has been serving at, but with a little bit better or more descriptive title so that we really know that we need that coordination up here from the CEO's office between our various departments, between all of these agencies I work with and work on their boards. We need that continuity up here in the basin. And Erin is going to be sorely missed in a couple of weeks here, but until then, we're working her hard and we do hope we get some good applicants for that position. And finally, there's been quite a bit of discussion. I know you all know this, but with our forest health and forest fuels. So we are working, again, the counties together and our special districts together, looking at biomass and what can we do to keep, instead of trucking all these logs out of here and paying huge amounts of money to get the wood out of our forest and off the hill, trying to find a biomass plant and think about how we can use that energy here and the wood products here in right in our region. So we're restarting those discussions. Many of you might remember the efforts on biomass a long time ago. Unfortunately, that never moved forward. Now we see the price that we're paying to take the product out of the basin and all the way down, sometimes all the way down into parts of Nevada, and other times going all the way down to Rio Bravo and the far end of Placer County. So trying to find a location that's closer so we can do more and deal with it more quickly. So those are some of the big items that are being worked on. And then I said, finally on biomass, how could I not talk about housing? We have so many efforts moving forward on housing. We didn't cover it tonight. We have said for several years, housing is a crisis. I think it is now beyond a crisis. I don't know the term to use. It is such a horrible situation for our employers, for our employees that are being kicked out of their homes. Many of the long-term rentals are investment properties for folks. And because of the real estate values, they're being sold, they're being listed and sold. And we're losing long-term rental space at a very rapid rate. So we are working every opportunity we can to revise ordinances and ease the situation so we can get some housing projects going. There's a lot in that area. And we'll try to cover that in the newsletter, but the Board of Supervisors will be up here July, Kelly, help me here. Is it July 26th and 7th?
I believe it's the 26th.
Okay. So we will be up, yeah, the 26th and 27th, and we'll be hearing, I'm sure, a lot on the housing projects that are underway, the efforts that are underway, and how we'll be moving forward. So we hear from you. We know this is a crisis. Unfortunately, we're way behind, and none of us anticipated what came after COVID with these skyrocketing real estate values and this pressure on our community. So we all need to pitch in and find ways to help. And we're going to be sending messaging out to second homeowners again, asking them to please consider longer term rentals, whether it's 3 months or 6 months or a year, anything to help us house employees so we can continue to provide services in this region. The county itself is entering into a JPA with the airport district, the school district, the hospital district, and the town of Truckee, and I'm sorry, in Nevada County, to even look at, we're under crisis for our own employees. And so we all know this is a really challenging time. So with that, I think those are some of the most pressing things. I know our office, Kelly, you see Kelly on the screen, Sophie, we are doing our very best to get back to all the emails we get as quickly as we can. It is really challenging. We receive hundreds of emails a day from constituents all throughout my district, and we do our very best to get back to you. Be patient. We'll try to get back to you and as quickly as we can. And stay tuned. Please sign up for my newsletters. We try to address common themes in those kinds of newsletters as well. So with that, Kelly, I haven't been looking at the questions, but I think there's a few more. So
there's comments, appreciation.
Oh, well, I like appreciation. Thank you. We all like that, but I want to give kudos to the county staff because they're all working with me so well, and I'm so honored to get to work with them because they're so dedicated to this community. And all of our public agencies that appeared tonight took time out of their schedules tonight to update you. We want to continue to provide this forum so that you can get updates on all of the issues that are going on in our community. So if there's no other questions, Kelly, was there anything else I was supposed to cover tonight?
No, we can share the links
okay,
separately, so we can go ahead and send those out because we've shared a whole lot of information. I think it might be helpful to
Great. And then if you did have more questions, please email us. We'll connect you with the right staff people. You can email the office. It's just Cindy Gustafson at placer.ca.gov. So email us, and Kelly, Sophie, a number of us get in my email and try to get back to everybody. So great. Well, thanks. And it's 8:12, and I know it's been a long evening, but thanks for hanging in there. We had great attendance tonight, and I so appreciate everybody again for staying involved and getting involved in our community. Thanks, and we'll say good night.